Peace, family. We are now live, and I think it's a full moon tonight, family. So it's some powerful energy in the air tonight. Have a wonderful guest. Shout out! I see Huna Flash in the chat.
Ah, love
Shout
you.
out to Huna. We're about to get started. It's a Friday night. We're about to get started. As usual, family, hit the like button. Tell your friends and family we are now live. This is going to benefit everybody. Tell everybody. It doesn't matter what religion, what spirituality you're part of. This will guarantee benefit everyone. All right. Let me get to a quick commercial, family. And then I will return with my guest of the night. Make sure y'all celebrate your life. Let's get to this commercial. Be right back in 1 minute, family. Let me make sure I got the right one. Okay.
Sometimes I wake up in the morning feeling stressed. Sometimes I wake up feeling like I never slept. Sometimes I don't wanna wake up cause I'm depressed. But today when I woke up I felt blessed. Yes, I'm thankful I could breathe. Thankful for the breath, thankful for the heart beating in my chest. Superman S. I fell in love with life, not afraid of death. Fell in love with life, fell in love with sex. I'm a sinner, I confess. I love my gold, melanated flesh. It absorbs, it protects like a bulletproof vest. I kill all my demons and then I ask who's next. I'm the son of Osiris, I'm coming for the suit test. Suplex, God is blood, God is great. I thank Him for the food on my plate. I just ate mashed potatoes and steak. Victory is sweet, come get a taste. The flavor in your air is Big Mac with the bass. Been broke, can't break, got money in the bank. Every day someone dies, someone's born. Get a cake, set a date, get a suit, get a tie, get a date. God is always on time, never late. Celebrate, get in shape, meditate, levitate, elevate, men destroy, men create. Real women menstruate, and the sound I make emanates my light. And the song I sing celebrates my life. Celebrate your life, celebrate your life. Celebrate today, celebrate tonight. Celebrate your life, celebrate your life. Everything was dark, God invented light. Everybody celebrate your life, celebrate your life. Celebrate today, celebrate tonight. Accepted all my wrongs, celebrate the right. When I die, celebrate my death, see what heaven's got. I feel glorious, victorious. The metal dangle on my...
All right, and we are back without further ado. Welcome back to the platform. I think this is Erin's first time here this year. Welcome back, Erin, to the platform.
Thank you so much. So good to be here. And before we dive in, I just want to say, Rich, I just want to give you your flowers. I appreciate this platform, who you are as a person with so much integrity and authentic love. And it just
Okay.
radiates from you. So I just wanted to say that. So I love coming on your show. Thank you.
I appreciate that, and I was just having this conversation the other day with someone, and I was telling them the thing I appreciate about my platform, and I notice the speakers that come on here get a good response from the people on the platform that tune in. People tune into my platform with their hearts. They sometimes you tune into a platform with your mind, with your intellect. A lot of people are very open minded because they know they're not going to be judged when they're tuning into this platform. So I want to thank everybody for allowing me to be me so that you could be you. And that's how we are doing it. We're gonna have a
Yes.
wonderful day today. We're gonna have a wonderful night, a wonderful conversation. Erin, a great topic tonight. I mentioned magnetism and you threw the quantum before it in the
Mhm.
title. And I guess to start out with, Erin, because you mentioned the word quantum a lot, I want us to have a finer understanding of what exactly the quantum world is, because I understand that that's the world of cause, and the world we're seeing visually is the world of effect. So, what exactly would you say, Erin, in a nutshell, is the quantum world for those who want to tap into these powers that we talk about so much, Erin?
Mhm. The way I see quantum is it's where spiritual and science meet, and that's really important. to begin to understand who you truly are as a being. So I identify as an omniversal being of light. And
Mhm,
omni simply means in all direction, every in which direction simultaneously, which is really the omnipresence of source, of spirit. And
mhm,
so when we tap into our quantum nature, we're tapping into the true essence of us that is more than a linear our linear self, but our multidimensional self that is in every direction, in every plane, in every realm simultaneously. And
mm.
that's then how we can hack the linear reality or experience we are in right now.
Wow. So this realm, would shadow be a good word to use? It's a shadow world of a higher dimension, you would say?
Everyone has a different intention and purpose for experiencing this reality. For
Mhm,
some people, it is to experience shadow. For some people, it's to bring light. It really just depends on the functionality of what your oversoul is doing in this time space reality. So we can't say that everyone is here doing the same thing.
mhm, mhm. Does your soul I know we both have studied Abraham Hicks a lot. Shout out
Yeah.
to Esther Hicks and Abraham. Like, say that your soul, your oversoul, is it something where your oversoul has, like, in 2024, this is the year 2024, it's incarnate in several different avatars, and Erin is one of them. Do you think your soul has other avatars in this realm at this time right now that you could possibly run into? That would be
um,
interesting.
that actually is a thing and it's possible. So um the oversoul, your oversoul is holding the awareness of all of your soul's energy,
Hmm.
like how your energy, how your soul's energy is expressing itself across multiple timelines and incarnations. So
Right.
if you have multiple parallel versions of we do have multiple parallel versions of ourselves. Our oversoul is tapped into all of those quantum versions of us, but also all of our past lives, which are really just parallel lives.
Hmm.
So your oversoul is like the manager. When you split off from source energy to have this experience, um, like we like to think that living out each life individually, but they're all happening now. Your oversoul this is currently deciding now and will always be in a state of deciding what it wants to experience next, but it's now.
Hmm. You know,
It's all happening.
you talk about splitting from source energy, Erin. And we have these things in this realm what we call old souls. The old souls are usually the more advanced ones who've been here, had several reincarnations, so they know things that maybe the average soul doesn't know. Do you think the old soul that incarnated down here were the souls that split from source first? They were the more stubborn aspect of source, would you say? You know, like if you have children and one kid is like, I'm leaving home. And they're like, they leave home at like 16. They leave home so early because they want to get out there, experience it on their own. Would be like what old souls are? They want to get the hell away from source, and they were kind of stubborn, so they have much more experience in this realm than the younger souls.
So, how Source is showing me this right now is that there's a desire that arises within the infinite spirit to know itself experientially in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, when my soul energy split off from Source, it's because there was an aspect of Source that desired to experience itself through that unique frequency. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yes, there are different points from which that split happens, which in our human perspective, we would call older or younger. A
Mm-hmm.
younger soul just simply has less experiential wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
meaning all souls actually know everything at the time of their split. It's just existent, so we already know everything, but it's not experiential, meaning when you forget who you are, you descend through different dimensions and you forget who you are, but then you relearn through experience. That's real wisdom. So
Mm-hmm.
older souls possess experiential wisdom. Younger souls haven't fully lived it out. They haven't played out enough incarnational games to possess that as a wisdom.
Mm-hmm. I want to get to this question. I usually wait to the end to get the questions, but I want to ask this one now because my spirit is telling me to. Why does source need to experience itself? Alexis wants to know this.
It's not simply enough to know that you exist. So at the moment that source became aware of its existence, its next logical question was, well, what does that comprise of? What do I have the capacity, the potentiality to become? So it's a desire to know itself experientially. I can
Mhm.
know that I'm everything. I can sense that I'm everything, that I am all that is. But what exactly does that entail? What are the details of that?
Indeed, indeed, and I want to go toward segue to the whole magnetism topic. Erin, there's one thing that I've heard people say on the internet. Like I hear um, a lot of the rappers say this. They'll be like, I've never seen a rich person hate on somebody who got less money than them. And in my mind, I'd be like, they do that all the time. There's something invisible that exists within each of us that has nothing to do I don't want to say has nothing to do with it, but it's an internal wealth. It's an eternal energetic frequency that people could feel. And sometimes, regardless of how much money somebody else has, people are jealous of that. You could have a very magnetic personality, Erin, and people recognize that and feel that. And regardless of whether you make $5 an hour and they make $1 million a year, your aura may be stronger than theirs is, and they can spot that. So I want to talk about that form of wealth tonight. I want to talk about that personal magnetism that exists within all of us. And sometimes we don't know if it's attracting the wrong energies, the right energies, but I want to have a good time talking about magnetism tonight, Erin. And I want to start out with um, is diet a key role in us being magnetic? Because I asked that because I know a lot of people that are magnetic and their diets are not what conscious people, would follow.
It's interesting because I had someone in my quantum manifestation membership ask me about this the other day, about like they ate something that was more dense and then they started to feel a certain way.
Uh-huh.
But one day when they were in a high frequency and they ate it, their body actually digested it different, is what
Mm,
was through. But
interesting.
on the day that they were upset and angry about something and they ate the exact same thing, what was
Right.
actually happening was that their body was processing it differently. And so this is why you
Deep.
have people who don't necessarily have the most amazing diet, but because they operate in such a high frequency, the
Right.
intelligence of their cells and the systems of their body are able to extract the nutrients and and break that down into the energy that they need to thrive. So I would say that your frequency, and I like to call this a vibrational set point, which is like the typical frequency that you operate in. If you maintain a high vibrational set point, that's going to be more dominant than like diet. Doesn't mean that
Sure.
it's not important,
Mhm.
but it's just the intelligence of our body. Our body is consciousness, so it adapts to that high frequency.
Amazing. Amazing. I think that's something that we all have to consider outside of the food we eat, but the emotions we're expressing
Mhm.
while we're eating that food. Yes, definitely important. I've heard brothers in the past say, in particular, a gentleman named Bobby Emmett say, never eat food from somebody who's angry, who's preparing the food and they're angry. So yeah, I could definitely
Yep.
understand that.
Yep.
Definitely, definitely. All right, so let me ask you this, Erin. So say I'm in a sad emotional state. I'm upset about my finances. Maybe I'm upset about my maid or whatever. They could be whatever, my job, my friends, whatever. And I meet somebody. I'm in a sad emotional state and I meet somebody. Should I be wary of the person I met because I magnetized them toward me while I was in a low vibration? So should I be wary of that individual that I met at
Mm.
that time?
I think that when we start to overly analyze every single interaction or like what's showing up,
Hmm.
it can take away from the presence of what we have the ability to co-create. It's
Hmm.
more so about the present moment. Maybe I met you in a we would call a low state of being or a low vibrational state of being. But if I alchemize that simply into love or appreciation for who you are or what we're sharing in this moment,
Mhm.
it shifts the timelines. Now, this is the thing about quantum. I can meet you as this parallel version of myself and thus activate this version of you. But as soon as I shift energetically, I quantum jump to a parallel timeline where I'm different and you are different. So I don't have to look at that. I don't have to like hold us both to that specific point in which we met.
Mhm.
However, that can be a great exercise to examine like if you're dealing with someone and it's playing itself out in a negative way, if you want to do some vibrational backtracking for your own benefit, then I feel like that's where that would be advantageous.
Indeed. Why do you think, Erin, why do you think some people, like sometimes the things you don't really want, you could attract to you very easily. And then the things that you really, 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 really want seems to be the hardest things to attract to you.
It's the attachment.
Attachment. Okay.
It's the attachment. It's
Good
like
news.
whatever we hold on a pedestal, and just think about what a pedestal is. It's you vibrationally saying this thing is above me. Whatever I believe is above me, I can't actually hold in my reality. It will
Mm,
slip through my fingers.
mm,
So this is why when we're nonchalant or we kind of don't care about things, they easily magnetize into our experience because we weren't placing an attachment or an expectation around it. But
right.
most things that we really, really want, and you'll notice those manifestations can be slower. They can even be a little bit more dramatic depending on the beliefs that you have associated with them. And most people believe that the things that they really want come with either a challenge or a sacrifice.
Yeah.
So what they will do is they will unconsciously manifest the hurdle that they
Wow.
have to overcome before they can have it. But it's just
Wow.
because they were believing that. Not
Wow.
because source or the universe was saying, "Hey, you're going to have to jump through all these hoops before you get this thing."
Mhm, mhm. Yeah,
Mhm.
I remember in my younger days, I mean in my early 20s, I remember one time when I decided that I want to pursue the entrepreneurial route. And I remember I was, doing my thing for a couple of years, and then out of nowhere, I remember the MTA called me, and they that's the train system for those who don't know in New York. And I had
Mhm.
applied for them when I was like 19 or something. And as soon as I decided I want to be an entrepreneur, here they come calling, and they gave me a job offer for like $29 an hour. And everybody's like, yo, you gonna
Mhm.
turn it, yo, you retarded. I remember this one dude named Sonetta. He's like, yo, Rich, you stupid. You gonna turn that down, brother? That's that you could retire. And I'm like, nah, I
Right.
don't want to go that route. I just I'm not interested in that. I want to go this route. And it just like and at that time, so many people that I knew were looking for jobs, and I'm like, why would I get a job offer when I don't need it? I don't want it right now. I want
Yeah.
to go in a different direction. Why wouldn't that come to somebody else? And when you said that, it just made me think of that. Like I didn't want it, and it came to me. And that happened more than one time with
Mhm.
job offers while I'm doing this entrepreneur thing. So that's quite interesting. Quite
That
interesting.
happened to me right before I decided to leave Wall Street. So for those of you who don't know, like before doing this work, I was a licensed wealth advisor, stockbroker. I worked at JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, all the big financial institutions, and they wanted to give me so much money,
Mm,
like so much money at the point where it was like, okay, I can't, because I had been like running my business on the side, but it was like not a side thing anymore because it was really growing. So I'm like really juggling both things at the same time.
right.
And I had to make that decision to walk away from that money. And I had the exact same sentiments. I'm like, the average person would look at me like I am insane for the amount of money that these people wanted to give me to really do a kind of easy job, too. Like I
Right.
had reached a point where the work was I had already put in a lot of sweat equity into my wealth management practice, and it was just easy at that point.
Mhm.
But when your soul is calling you to do
Yeah.
higher work, you have to answer.
No facts. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Do you think, Erin, do you think it's possible to yearn for something that is not in your soul contract, So no matter how hard you attempt to attract it, you won't get it because it's not in your destiny or your soul contract that you signed up for before you came down here to get. So it don't matter how much you yearn for, you're just not going to get it. Is that possible?
What I'm being guided to speak on is you can have implanted desires. We are living in a dualistic matrix realm where there are beings that will intentionally implant desires into you that are not in harmony with your true soul plan. So an example of this would be, let's say if me or you didn't take, if we did stay in those jobs, right, because we were operating on the implanted belief or desire that this money or whatever it was, or the label of the security was more important, then maybe at some point we end up getting fired from that job anyways, or something dramatic happens because what we were really supposed to do was this. And so the universe is always going to try to go out of its way to keep us in alignment with that soul plan that we created, so we can actualize our highest dharma, what we came here to experience. So yeah, I completely, we can be wanting something that we think we want, but it's really from our ego and it's not from our soul.
Indeed,
So it's
indeed. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Now this is a interesting. This matrix is very interesting. It's funny at times, and you just gotta laugh. You just gotta laugh sometimes. The way things work out and come together. I want to ask you in terms of like magnetism and people having energetic qualities about them. There's a saying where they say famous saying where they say good girls like bad guys. Now, in terms of the so-called bad guys being magnetic, do you think Erin's laughing? Do you think the good guy, the so-called good guys that aren't attracting these women that they want, do you think that it's something like just being good isn't enough? Their energy, they're low on magnetism, they're low on their aura, they're low on their ori, their chi, or whatever. Do you think that is something? Because there's a lot of good guys that saying, damn, why can't I get the girl? All the bad guys get the girl. So is this something about their personal magnetism or aura or chi that they need to work on so that these women could recognize them the way they do the so-called bad guys?
Women, when we're immature, we like bad guys, and men too. Men like, maybe the spicy chick, because it's actually the confidence that they exude. It's actually at a deep fundamental level, we are all attracted to confidence, which is a form of alignment with someone's higher self, with who they really are, right? Because we're all actually born confident. And then at some point, someone strips us of that confidence. So it's an energetic quality that we're drawn to because deep down, that's what we wish we could possess for ourselves. So confidence is very magnetic. Now, the question becomes, how do you become confident? And I want to just simplify this for everybody in terms of amplifying your magnetism. Confidence is you loving yourself beyond conditions. I would say, like, there is an egoic form of confidence, but then there's like a confidence that holds a certain light quotient or purity, which is I love me beyond any condition and circumstance that I'm currently experiencing. Most people only love themselves based on what they have. They don't allow themselves to fully love who they are or be confident until they accomplish that certain thing, whatever this thing was on the pedestal. So it's actually about confidence, which is why, unfortunately, they say nice guys finish last.
Wow. Why does it appear, if we're talking about confidence and magnetism, a lot of people, if you think examples of some of the greats and just great people in your life and people that are real confident, sometimes it appears that a lot of them are assholes. So what is it about being an asshole that, goes right with being confident? Is that an automatic trait that comes with being confident? Where, like, just to give an example, like Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time, they say he was one of the biggest assholes. They said the same thing about Kobe Bryant. you can hear that about singers, or you can hear that about Steve Jobs. They say Steve Jobs was an asshole, and
Yeah.
shout out to his soul. He did a lot for humanity. But why are these brilliant, confident people being called assholes so much?
I've in my personal experience with people, it's an imbalance of head and heart,
Mm,
mind and heart.
mm,
So every person whose confidence does not have to be an asshole.
right,
But
right.
again, if that confidence is filtered through their ego, it's actually a false sense of confidence. It's like a
Mm,
matrix confidence. Then there's a confidence that comes from your connection with God, with source, that is based on your inherent worth as a being. It holds a different energy. I'm getting the example of, like, if you were to meet an ascended master, right? This is a
mhm,
being that would be extremely confident. They would be extremely clear and steadfast in how they express themselves or present themselves, but the dominant energy that you would feel would be love.
mm,
So for the folks who have confidence but it's not balanced through love,
mhm.
it's just because there's still some underlying beliefs or programming or trauma that created that ego, that sense of ego, for them to actualize whatever this thing was in the world.
I like that term you use, matrix confidence.
Yes.
I like that. I'm gonna use that in a future show. Don't get mad. I will give you your props though. I would say Erin said matrix confidence. Wow, that's the
Yeah.
okay. I like that one right there. Well, let me ask you about this, Erin. In terms of magnetism and having a strong aura and just shining bright, do you think that unfortunately that causes some children to get preyed on by predators because their aura is so strong?
Yes and no. Off Mostly that's contractual.
Mm,
If a child's going to experience something like that, is usually built into their soul contract. But it
mm,
is true that that magnetic energy, which, this might sound weird, oftentimes does have like a sexual energy to it, because but
mm,
it's just because they're such a channel for life force energy. And so you have certain people who are infiltrated by entities who will see that light, who will
mm,
pick up on that frequency, and
mm,
then work through that person's lower chakras and maybe have them be sexually attracted to this child, or like whatever is going to happen in that type of interaction. Nonetheless, it is typically still contractual when that happens,
mhm.
for whatever reason that soul wants to experience, or it might be some type of karma.
Right. So this magnetism is because I know Napoleon Hill, I think he said creative energy is sexual energy. So is
Absolutely.
that we could describe it as that? Is that sexual energy what we're talking about when somebody has a strong aura? Or
It can be, but it also depends on how balanced that person is and healed in their own chakra system.
right.
So let's say I'm super magnetic, but my sacral, we'll just say our sacral, but it's really like our lower three chakras. If they're imbalanced or something like that, the how we're exuding our magnetism, it can come off in a certain way. It's when we don't have control over our sexual energy. But
Mm,
then you have some people who are, yes, they're magnetic, they're attractive, and maybe people are sexually interested in them, but for whatever reason they also hold a certain respect for that person, where they would not infiltrate them or cross certain boundaries. It
mm,
really just depends on, what is actually beneath that magnetism. That's when we get into the world
mm,
of the unseen, the
mm,
world of what's really beneath what somebody's vibrationally signaling.
mhm. Indeed. Okay. All right. So I hear a lot of people say within the spiritual community, fear. They talk about fear, and they say fear is a very, very strong, I guess you could say, magnifier or emotional state that you can exist in. And be careful about what you fear, because what you fear you attract.
Mhm.
So if what like say I fear getting robbed, I might attract somebody who's looking to rob somebody. So if that's the case, Erin, I'm hearing this people say that people who are tapped into the spiritual community.
Mhm.
I'm also hearing the self-help gurus and entrepreneurs say that the fear of success is one of the biggest fears in the world today. So if fear is strong and you attract what you fear, and most of the people fear success, and I know people that self-sabotage themselves all the time, why aren't more people attracting success if their fear ultimately is success? Why
Mm,
aren't they attracting it?
sure. It doesn't really work that way. It's more so about what you are a vibrational match to.
Mm,
So if I fear somebody robbing me, I'm a vibrational match to the experience of being robbed, because when that person robs me, I'm going to be in a state of fear. It's like
uh,
I am attracting the thing that I'm in resonance with,
right,
right?
right,
But if I'm afraid of success, I am a vibrational match to actually lacking success,
right,
the
right,
absence of success. I'm
right,
afraid of success, so it's like I don't want it. I
right.
don't
Okay,
want the experience of, or maybe I'm afraid of what might come with it, and I have all these different beliefs.
right.
Um, yeah, it's a little bit difficult to explain, but this is all about what are you a vibrational match to? If you're
Mm,
afraid of success, you're not a vibrational match to being successful.
mhm,
Because if you were successful,
mhm.
you would be in a polar emotional state of being, which would be probably happy or fulfilled or satisfied, right?
Mhm,
So you're actually pushing it away. If
mhm.
you're afraid of somebody robbing you, you are, yeah, you're quite literally sending the invitation for the person to rob you.
How do you feel about, you're on YouTube, you're popular on the internet, a lot of people see you and they may recognize you in the street, you may talk at events and there may be thousands of people there. People may want to shake your hand, people may want to hug you, people may want to take a picture with you.
Mm,
How do you feel in terms of protecting your energy versus showing love to the people, being one with the people? How do you like? What
yeah.
do you think? How do you balance that? What do you feel about that? Because I know there's powers in the hand, the handshake.
Mhm,
When you hug
mhm.
somebody, that's an energetic
Sure.
exchange. So it can be draining. How do you feel about that, Erin?
I like to align myself in the highest vibration before I do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I align myself in the highest spirit, in the highest frequency, when I go into a room, the individuals that I find myself in maybe closer communication with, or I I'm in passing with this person and we end up talking. It's all divine orchestration based on who's a vibrational match to the frequency that I'm embodying. Anybody who's not really embodying that frequency, it's like for whatever reason we're going to miss each other, or there's not going to be an opportunity to talk, or you get what I'm saying? It's sort
Mm-hmm.
of like your frequency is going to be the determining factor for how you navigate any environment.
Mm-hmm.
So if you overthink that before you go into a room, you will probably just not be able to be in a state of presence where you can just allow the experience to unfold in
Mm-hmm.
an organic way.
Mm-hmm.
However, um this is something that I've dealt with being a little bit hesitant with wanting to do in-person work with people. Um because it is a lot to energetically open yourself up to people who are like, oh, they see you online, they love you or whatever, but to actually share space with them is another conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And knowing how to create boundaries if and when you do that type of thing, and how to be discerning with who and how long you spend time with people. Like
Mm-hmm.
there are certain people, if I'm interacting with them, my spirit will tell me, okay, it's time for this conversation to end. And
Mm-hmm.
you need to be redirected somewhere else.
No, definitely, definitely, definitely. Well, shout out to everybody in the chat. Just wanted to give y'all. I see y'all in the chat. I see y'all enjoying the conversation tonight. Let's talk about in terms of somebody who's very magnetic. What energy would you describe? Is that like a sun, and the people that come around them is like the planets? What celestial energy are they working with when they're being magnetic?
I see magnetism in two ways. If we're gonna explain it that way,
Mhm,
definitely like the spirit or the frequency of a sun, right? A
Right.
sun is in the middle and everything orbits around a sun.
Mm-hmm.
So a
Mm-hmm.
magnetic person is someone that in their reality, everything orbits around them.
Mm-hmm.
Again, not in an egotistical way, but in
Mm-hmm.
a way that they are so affirmed in their ability to create their reality that
Mm-hmm.
they're just pulling things in. So the other aspect of this is I like to see myself as my own gravitational force field.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone here is already magnetic.
Mm-hmm.
You're already magnetizing things without actually trying
Mm-hmm.
because you are an energetic being and
Mm-hmm.
you have your own electromagnetic field, a gravitational force field around you that is quite literally attracting things into your personal orbit. So
Right.
it's already happening. It's a matter of what is the frequency from which you are magnetizing things.
Mm. Mm.
It's your point of attraction,
Mm-hmm.
the point, the centralized point from which you attract things into your life,
Mm-hmm.
your dominant frequency and state of being.
No, indeed, indeed, definitely, definitely. In terms of our family, how should one move if they feel like let's say you live in a household. I know people, a lot of people go through this. Let's say you live in a household and you feel like you have a magnetic personality about you, and you have there's something special about you, but the people around you, they say the people around you can't see your light sometime, and you have to go out of your
Mhm.
city, out of your, then for other people to recognize it. So for those who feel
Mhm.
like they got something going on, but nobody is telling them and their families doubting them, what would you advise to those people?
That's your initiation into truly being magnetic. It's when you
Oh,
no longer
okay.
need them to see
Oh
you
shit.
because you see yourself. So when you see yourself, the reflections change and they can see you.
Right.
When you stop needing them to see you, that's when you're truly free. That's when you're
Uh,
truly magnetic.
wow.
Every magnetic person that any of us have ever engaged with, there's a quality about them that probably they can take or leave us. And
Yeah.
that's why the girls like the bad boys because the bad boys are like, girl, like I can take or leave you.
Wow.
So
Wow.
she's
That's deep.
drawn into that
Yeah.
because he's not operating in attachment. Because on
Oh,
some level, he just knows he's God's gift. I don't know.
yeah. 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 Yeah.
But yeah, we have even when it's our family, we have to no longer need that validation. And I'm calling that an initiation because it is emotionally challenging. But that is a true step into deep mastery,
Mm.
seeing yourself first.
No, I definitely love that answer. And because you mentioned the word initiation, I had a conversation the other day with I forgot who I was on the show with, and we were talking about spiritual people, healers attracting narcissists. I think I was with Dr. B. Serious, and we were talking about
Mm.
healers attracting narcissists and ending up in relationships with narcissists. My question to you would be, Erin, if I'm a healer and I attract a narcissist and I say, hey, I'm getting the hell out this relationship, you're a narcissist, is that like, did I fail the test? Because as a healer, should I have finished healing that narcissist? If we break up, I should have finished healing the narcissist first. Is that like, because I'm a healer, I'm supposed to heal? So is it your job to heal that person, or
Oh my
should you
God.
just like move on and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Most healers do attract difficult situations or people that will prepare them for supporting others. It
Hmm.
doesn't mean that you force yourself to stay in a situation with something that's um less than what you deserve. Like everything has an expiration date.
Hmm. Hmm.
So at the point that the lesson is complete, the contract is complete, you should be leaving that narcissist. You should be
Right,
leaving that asshole. If
right.
you stay in that, you probably won't be able to be in the fullest capacity of your healing work. So
Mm,
I know a lot of you are healers here and
mhm,
intuitives. If
mhm,
you find yourself in these experiences right now, I don't want you to hold judgment towards yourself, but recognize them as opportunities for deeper mastery. I've had
mhm,
a lot of assholes in
mhm,
my life. I've had a lot of shitty I don't know if we can curse on here. That type of those type of situations with people,
Mhm.
but they every single time it drew out another level of my power that I needed, to the point where now there's a threshold where those types of people don't come into my life, but I can serve people who are experiencing that
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
because I it's experiential. I lived it.
Even if you get everything you want, like let's say by the time you're 50, I mean, and you done got everything you could possibly imagine in this realm, do you think that uh like like it could get exhausting sometime, all the tests we have to go through. This is a
Sure.
test, that's a test, that's a test, that's a test. Do you think, because some people say, "Oh, it was all worth it. I got the trophy. I'm a champion. I got this. I got that." Do you
Mhm.
think that it will be worth it as long as we achieve the goal, or do you think that even if we achieve the goal, for you, do you think it's like this shit is exhausting? I'm done with this earth shit. Like I got everything, but goddamn, I got to go through all of this. Like how do you see this realm at this time in your evolution?
Mhm. So, yes, it can be exhausting. I understand that. I resonate with that. But what are you going to do about it?
Mm,
You actually can't quit. I
mm,
mean, you can, but really
right,
you can't. You
right.
don't have a choice but to keep going. And so your willpower, your desire for something more has to be greater than the temporary discomfort.
Mm,
And that's why a lot of people don't access higher levels of their soul mastery, because the process that's uncomfortable,
mm,
it's like they want to give up or they want it to come easy.
right.
Anybody that has attained true, let's call it peace, nirvana, or enlightenment, it was work.
Mm,
Everybody wants the fruit. Everyone wants the trophy. Everybody wants to say, I'm this, or I accomplished that, or I now have this state of enlightenment, or whatever it is. But it doesn't come without the rigorous process, or else everybody would have it. So, on a certain level, you have to accept that it's a part of what you signed up for,
mhm, mhm,
and shift out of any victim frequency, because as soon as you allow yourself to become a victim, it you just will continue to remanifest the same timelines. This is what I call a timeline loop, where you're
mhm,
stuck in the same chaos or the same drama, or magnetizing the same things to you,
mhm,
because you're not willing to just own your frequency. You're
mm,
exhausted actually because of your own frequency.
mm.
But that can change. So when you recognize that that can change, the energy can loosen up and you can get out of that loop.
You know how to break this quantum stuff down. Wow. Okay.
That's why
All
I
right.
told you quantum magnetism.
Yeah, you know this quantum stuff. Yeah, indeed. Let me ask you this. I noticed something interesting, Erin. If we're talking about magnetism, a lot of the internet took off. I think Facebook took off in, I don't know, 2008, 2005.
Mhm,
Facebook, and it was going in where Facebook took off. And then after Facebook, YouTube. When YouTube first came out, they had the 10-minute videos, and then they let you put up an hour. Then I think it was unlimited or something like that. But a lot of people are on the internet now, making a career, making a lifestyle, just letting people see how they live and everything. And what
mhm,
I find interesting, Aaron, is that a lot of the people that before the internet took off that were magnetic, they don't know how to be magnetic on the internet. And a lot of people that were magnetic in real life who weren't so cool, they know how to be very magnetic on the internet in front of the camera. So it's like a flip. The people who was the
right.
man on the dude that was the man outside, he's not able to do it online. And the dude that was a nerd, like let's just say DJ Academics, they always making fun of him. He would be like a nerd if the internet wasn't around. But the
Sure.
internet's around. He's extremely popular, makes millions upon millions of dollars.
Mhm,
What
mhm,
is it about magnetism in the real life versus the internet
mhm,
where it seems like the poles
mhm.
get reversed
The
most
internet
of the time, not all
gives
the time?
can give people an opportunity to create a fake persona,
Mm,
because you're removed. You don't have to deal with the social interaction, um you don't have to deal with social interactions. And so for most people with social interactions, it brings out your deepest insecurities, your fears, like what is truly a part of your identity is what you're operating on when you're with people in real life. Now, online, you can create whatever facade or persona that you want, and most of these people are not going to challenge you because they don't know you
Right,
in
right,
real life.
right.
And then another aspect of this is this can be a good thing for people who have had a certain identity in their real life and they want to separate themselves from that and leverage this opportunity to become something new.
Mm-hmm,
I don't see anything wrong with that. If
mm-hmm.
you were the nerd all your life, chances are it's really difficult for you to become something else and you're still living in your same town that you grew up in, where everybody knows you as the nerd. That
Right.
identity is going to be perpetuated. You have to create a way to fracture that identity and reinvent yourself.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And
Indeed.
online is a great way for people to reinvent themselves.
Yeah, yeah. Just that was like the most interesting thing to me. Like so many people I knew that were just so popular, they don't like the internet, and very awkward on the internet actually.
Mhm,
And I'm like,
mhm.
wow, and they weren't able to make the transition. So I just find that very interesting. I'm about to take some questions. I see the chat is popping. I'm about to get some questions. Yeah, we have the I'm at with this very good conversation. We're having a very good conversation tonight, and I know y'all able to gain stuff from it. There's a lot of things I picked up on that I'm gonna take with me. So yeah, very good call. New Diamond said I love being a nerd. Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, nerds rule. Nerds definitely
Mhm,
rule. So shout
mhm,
out
mhm.
to New Diamonds. Nerds definitely rule. Um
Magnetic in the chat and in person.
in terms of like let's say sunlight, you know, the food we eat the food because we want the light that the light from the food that comes from the sun. We do
Mhm,
pretty much everything for the sun. The sun gives us
mhm.
life. It gives the entire planet life. There's something I talked to a gentleman named Yaki Awaken, and we were talking about the idea of geographical sunlight, where certain sun rays hit certain areas to create a different type of food that you won't see on other parts of the planet because that part is getting a certain sunlight.
Yeah.
Now, if that part of the planet could produce a different type of food, it can also produce a unique personality with the people from that land. So you will have, like, let's say people from LA who act and behave a certain way, they may be getting a certain sunlight. Or people from Harlem, New York, they would say dudes from Harlem act a certain way, they may be getting a certain sunlight from there. What I'm actually do you think that if we travel to these locations, if one is seeking confidence, and let's say I go to, let's say, Miami or LA, can I get, since the sun is light is information and light comes from the sun, will I grow confidence just by getting sunlight from certain geographical locations in order to make me more magnetic?
Yes, because the environment, all factors included, sunlight, the frequency of the collective there, the energy, all of it, basically the environment is imprinting on you.
Mm,
The environment is imprinting beliefs, programs, patterns, and behaviors into your system that
mm,
then carry out into how you express yourself. So uh, it's like a vibrational frequency of how the culture operates. So I'm originally from Detroit, suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. I
mm,
moved to New York. I lived in Harlem. I lived in Queens. I lived in Manhattan, like all over. The energy of New York, if you've ever lived in New York or if you're from New York, it's just different. It's going to bring something else out of you than if you're in a small town where people are small minded, where
mm,
people are limited. It's all about what you're being exposed to in your environment. Your
mm,
environment carries a certain vibration, which is why a lot of people experience a soul migration where like their soul is quite literally yearning or asking them to move
mm,
somewhere else, knowing that that environment is going to support their next evolution, the next stage
right,
of their evolution.
right,
Yeah.
right.
I,
Wow.
I recommend moving from places that do not inspire you,
Hmm.
that there's not a lot of momentum in that community, because you're more than likely you're just being stagnant within yourself. You have to go places where you can interact with people who are in a similar wavelength.
Wow, amazing. All right, let's get to some questions from the family. We about to hit the hour mark, and I want to get to some questions. I see y'all got some already. Let's get to I just seen one. Are we able to quantum leap? Erin, this is from Bathsheba. I hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
Bathsheba. Yeah, Bathsheba.
So I want to go into the quantum field a little bit. And how I like to explain it is, let's say you're listening to your favorite song on the radio, and at
Mm,
a point in time you want to change the station, aka change the frequency. That's actually what's happening on a scientific level.
yeah.
Just because you change the station, it doesn't mean that the song and the station that you were just tapped into doesn't exist. It
Right.
also doesn't mean that there aren't other stations playing different songs. And
Mm,
so the whole point of this example is that within the quantum is that all of these frequencies or these channels
mm,
exist
so-
simultaneously.
mhm, mhm,
And you can quantum leap based on your personal point of attraction or your frequency.
mm,
The signal that you are radiating out,
mhm,
typically the emotional state of being that you are usually in, is what's going to take you to the timeline or the channel that carries the same vibrational essence. This is why people who are angry or carry a lot of resentment and just like trauma that they haven't reconciled, they shift through parallel realities where they attract the same types of people and outcomes that make them feel angry and frustrated, and they just perpetuate the same vibration. So
mm.
yes, we're able to quantum leap, and really we shift through parallel realities all the time. The quantum leap actually happens when you become drastically different on some level within your consciousness or vibrationally, that it allows you to experience a reality, to quantum jump to a reality that feels very different.
But let me ask you this though, Erin, because I remember reading back in the day that that can be dangerous. Like let's say I make $15 at the job, and I
Mhm.
start tapping into my imagination. I start visualizing making $1 million a year. So in order for me to go to that reality, I've heard people say that something drastic might happen. You might get into a car accident because you have
Mhm.
to. The matrix has to figure out a way to bring this to you. So something
Mhm.
drastic will happen. You'll lose your job. Just something
Yeah,
drastic might happen in order for you to get to
great
that
point.
reality. But in the process of the dramatic stuff happening to you, you may get so confused about why this is happening to you that not only do you not go there, but now you don't have the job either. So you get what I'm saying? So should we?
Yeah.
So with that being said, so if I make $15 an hour, is it more safe to imagine making $25 or $20 an hour instead of just shooting to the $1 million in a year? Is that safe, or you should just go for whatever you want to go for?
So if a desire is arising within you, you really don't want to suppress that. But this is what's actually happening. When we have a desire and we're asking for something, we're also asking for the lessons or the experiences that we need to become the person that can hold that reality, right? So let's say this person who was making this amount of money, they want to quantum leap and make this amount of money. They can't actually hold that reality of making that high amount of money until they have an experience that activates a certain quality within them. And so if it's a car accident, maybe it's that they needed to learn surrender, that they
Mm,
had to be out of work for a few months or something like that. But with in being off of work, they learned a deeper faith, a deeper surrender that activated a frequency that would allow them to become that millionaire
mm,
eventually.
mhm.
So this is why we cannot skip lessons.
Right.
Quantum leaping is not, oh, I'm going to bypass certain experiences. If you need to have those experiences, you will have them. That is
Yeah.
true.
Wow. Okay, let's get to another question, family. Yeah, this a deep conversation, y'all. I mean, this is a good one. This is a classic one here. Somebody wants to know. Yolanda wants to know, what should I do to remember dreams?
As soon as you wake up, you want to have a journal and begin recalling whatever you can. Sometimes it's not meant for us to recall our dreams, but journaling as soon as you wake up, and maybe even just asking angels, spirits, masters, guides, whoever you feel comfortable calling in, can you help me recall my dream if it's relevant? I'm hearing that it has a lot to do with relevancy to what you need to know. Also, before you go to sleep, set an intention for something that you're wanting to receive in the dream. This is what's going to make it more relevant.
Yeah.
And there's something with water next to you while you sleep because it has an ability to hold certain memory frequency that can even support you in the morning if you infuse it with that intention before you go to sleep. Maybe store memories of my dreams or something like that. You wake up and then you drink it. It can help you with some recall.
Mm. I want to ask this one. What does it mean when I don't dream, only nightmares? Wow.
Are you saying if you're only having nightmares?
Yeah, I think
Okay. I
Marquise. Yeah,
think
yeah.
so.
Clarify
Mhm.
that, but I think that's what. Yeah, I think that's what she means.
So our dream space is a combination of things. Sometimes the way the dream space reality works is that it's an opportunity for your subconscious fears to play out
Mm.
as to not manifest in
Mhm.
the real world. And so if you're having a lot of nightmares right now, it can be that your subconsciousness is emptying all of these repressed fears so
Mhm.
that that's not yeah, I'm just hearing like this is a can be a safeguard actually. But examine them. What's happening? Are you running from something? Do you find yourself refacing the same person? It can help you. It's trying to give you some hint as to what you're actually afraid of in life, in your reality.
Mm. You know, I asked that question. I asked a question. You just reminded me of a question I asked the Seven Beaumont one time. I asked him. I said, um, if I have a certain karma coming to me, and I was thinking negatively, and let's say it played out in a dream, and let's say something happened to me in my dream, does that mean I won't experience it now in reality?
Mhm.
So yeah, so and I think you did. Is that what you just alluded to with the
Mhm.
dream? Wow.
Yep. And like I said, the dream space can hold many different functionalities. But for this particular person, that's what's going on with you, is what I'm just what's being downloaded to me is that you are playing out subconscious fears to prevent them from actually showing up in your real life. However, you want
Mm,
to start recognizing the patterns.
indeed, indeed. Woo! Wow. Okay, let's get to mm, what does it mean when your higher self tells you that your soul contract is broken? Lisa Nicole. Is that even possible? Wow.
So, soul contracts are as humans tend to think that it's like signed in blood on the dotted line and like that's it. But remember when I said that your oversoul is always deciding and experiencing now? In this now moment, everything is always being reconciled as to what is still relevant for you to experience, what still makes sense. This happens all the times in relationships where perhaps there's a soul contract for two people to be together, but one person can't get their together, and higher selves are like, you know what? We're gonna this contract no longer exists. Maybe we'll give it a go next time, right? So
Yeah.
the contracts are always being reconciled based on the work and the level of consciousness that you're expanding into. None of us are bound to anything or anyone ever.
Mm,
Very important for us to know because I know a lot of people hang on to things longer than they should because they have this idea that this is my twin flame or my soulmate and this is a contract.
right, right, right. Glad you said that. Let's get to Song Brown wants to know, peace family. Last night, BDL spoke on dimensions collapsing now during the shift. What does Erin think on this topic? Also, the lion on your tee looks like a human face. Oh, they talking about my tee. Okay, so
Okay.
what do you think about dimensions collapsing during the shift that we're experiencing right now?
Dimensions do not necessarily collapse. They will always be within creation, within existence. They will always be there because remember, all of these timelines, realities, dimensions, whatever we want to call them, they exist simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
It may be collapsing in your experience, your awareness of what you are experiencing. So, the way I'm seeing this is that there are certain timelines that people have no need or used to experience anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They're like deactivated. So they are collapsed, meaning there aren't enough souls who need to learn from those timelines, and this feels like they're more lower vibrational. There aren't enough souls anymore collectively that need those timelines, so they collapse. But it's really just that they're out of our vibrational spectrum of reality.
Mm-hmm.
We've deactivated them. This is also true of the apocalyptic timelines, and I'm being guided to say this because there's been a lot of recent information about this place is going to flood or blow up and this and that. When myself and other very well trusted mediums, psychics, and folks that I hang around, when we tune into the Akash and the quantum space, the apocalyptic timelines, they will always exist in terms of Earth just blowing up.
Right.
But they're deactivated. They're
Mm.
deactivated. And so that happens in your personal reality. You don't have the need to experience certain things. I've quantum leaped out of several soul contracts where
Mm.
source just said you actually accomplished the lesson sooner. You don't need you can just bypass
Uh,
that situation. So it collapses. Absolutely.
wow. All right. Do the indigo children have anything to do with this? Uh,
100%. Many people here are indigos. I'm an indigo, and it's just a certain role that we are here playing to clean up the vibration of what this time space reality has been. And so, what actually happens is certain souls, through their own dharmic self realization, it's sort of like collapsing karma of millions of souls through their self realization. And
mhm.
then it reduces the need for the collective to experience certain negative realities together.
Hmm.
So yes, everyone source is saying everyone here is playing their part. No one, there's no hierarchy, okay? Everyone here is playing their part. The labels more so come from different frequencies and different they're actually not dimensions, they're planes of existence. Planes and dimensions are different apparently, but they're just different planes that souls can come from that come with certain frequency attributes. And so the indigos carry a certain attribute, and then the crystals carry a certain attribute. But we're all a part of this cleanup crew.
All right. Um, Rita wants to know, what does it mean when in a dream you can't see your reflection in the mirror?
This is very broad, but specifically for you, Rita, are you afraid to see yourself? Are you afraid to see all of yourself? Um, this has a lot to do with personal acceptance. Everyone here possesses light and dark qualities. And when we say light and dark, it's less about wrong or right or good, bad, that type of thing. It's that we all have done things that are out of alignment, or we all have things that we're afraid of looking at. But when you look at it, you actually heal it because you shine unconditional love on it. And that's actually the state of being that source exists in, is that it holds unconditional love for creation, for existence, for all of the timelines that will ever be experienced, for all of the versions of ourselves that we will ever experience. There is only unconditional love. Don't be afraid to see yourself, the
Mm.
layers and the depths of who you are,
Mm.
and love those versions of you.
All right, I want to ask this one. How do you utilize religion, Islam or Christianity, for example?
So if someone's going to be born into a religious environment, that is a part of their soul plan. It's something that they've architected into their experience. And usually it has the functionality of just carving out the theme of how they want to experience reality or relate to the concept of God or that type of thing, or even if they're going to leave the religion, but they first needed to, be in that type of dogma to have the experience of leaving. It really is infinite in terms of how different souls utilize religion.
Mm.
If you're wondering for yourself how you can utilize religion, for some people, religion is provides a lot of structure, right? We've all probably recognized some folks who go down the spiritual rabbit hole, and then they get into a psychosis and
Oh yeah.
they
Oh
go back. I've seen a couple of people
yeah.
go back.
Mm.
And when I tune into the energy of what's happening, they actually need to go back because they need a foundation and they need structure, and they try to expand too fast into something that they were not ready to they just weren't ready to hold that level of sovereignty and responsibility and truth.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're someone who needs a little bit of structure, utilize that. It's okay to utilize that as long as you don't get caught up in the dogma I'm hearing.
Yeah, I'm really glad you said that. That's very important. I've seen that happen plenty of times
Yeah.
myself. Yeah, I'm really glad y'all asking these questions here. I think Erin's the perfect person to answer these for y'all. I know y'all getting a lot of help. Let's Is the dream realm the same as the daydream realm? Interesting question.
Yeah, very interesting. It can be. That's it. It can be. We are so multidimensional, and at any single point you can be tapping into an alternate reality. It's not this linear fixed that we can say every single time this is what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
A daydream can oftentimes simply be a vision or a premonition. I actually didn't realize that I had been having premonitions because I was writing them off as daydreams. And then when I started realizing that my daydreams were visions that were coming to life,
Mm-hmm.
now I can recognize when I'm having a premonition or a foresight of something.
I'm
So
sorry. Tell the people what a premonition is for those who may not know.
well, premonition is just like foresight. Like, so for an example, I might get a vision of someone, and maybe this goes on for a few weeks, and then I end up meeting that person in real life, or they come into my life in a significant way. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like I saw them coming before they came.
Mm-hmm.
It could be sometimes I have visions of people. I go on my Instagram and they're the first person on my feed. Like I had a vision of somebody buying their dream house, completely random. I get on my feed, they're announcing that they're buying their dream house. So when your psychic abilities start to expand, sometimes it's just that you're very sensitive to the field, and that information just like comes through in weird ways. So pay attention to those things.
Indeed, indeed. All right. Let's get to you cool with three more questions, Erin? Three more?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Right. Let's how can you connect to your inner core authentic self? Peace and thanks.
Being authentic is about doing things that you want to do because you truly want to do them. Expressing yourself in the way that you desire to express yourself because that is what makes you happy. Most people self-manage themselves based on what they think other people want to see from them. The sooner you can, okay, very important for my divine feminines here. The sooner you can break away from the conditioning and the programming of trying to be desirable. This is very important.
Oh,
Stop trying to be desirable to other people. And I'm specifically speaking to women because this is hardwired into us from the time that we're born. The
right,
whole idea is how you can get a man.
right,
That's
right.
that's like 1,000-year old collective brainwashing method.
Mm,
Stop trying to be desirable to other people. Do you like yourself?
mm,
So your inner core of who you are is the version of self that you've already validated because source has already validated it.
mm. Wow, that's very interesting. Let's ask this one here. There's a big misunderstanding on what is your soul and what is your spirit.
Mm,
In your perspective, what is the difference?
this is a good one.
Mhm.
just I'm
No,
just
take your
listening
time.
to stories.
Take your time. Take your time. Yeah.
Spirit is everlasting. Spirit is formless. Soul is temporary and takes on a specific intention or quality. So let's just call it spirit source, and let's just call soul the extension of source
Mm,
that has a specific intention of what it's trying to experience.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Could you elaborate a little more? This is good. I like this. Can
This
you
is
just
not an easy topic, by the way. This is not an easy topic.
this,
That's
this,
why we're like really let me
this is
see if I
good.
can get
Good stuff.
visual to help me.
Thanks for asking that, energy. Thanks for asking that. It's good stuff here.
Okay, so a soul can go through this journey of consciousness and have all these experiences, and then a soul reaches a point where it no longer seeks to have incarnational experiences, and then it sheds its soul and it becomes a spirit again.
Mm,
That's the difference.
wow.
It's fine line, but there is a difference.
Yeah, you should write a book on that. That would change the world if you wrote a book on
Um,
that. Yeah.
I actually have a book that you guys can read. Really powerful. I've recommended it before, and it's called The Afterlife of Billy Fingers. I mean, this book has some information on the afterlife and spirit and soul that is next level.
Mm,
And it's basically this guy who was a drug addict, this whole thing. He dies, but then he starts communicating with his sister,
mm.
right? And basically channels through her the afterlife, the journey of his soul in the afterlife, shedding his soul, bunch of different things. I would check that out if you're interested in that topic.
Well,
Afterlife of, I'll put it in the chat.
yeah.
Afterlife of Billy Fingers. Really incredible read.
How can they get that? Where do they get it from?
Just go on Amazon.
Oh, Amazon.
Do
Okay.
Amazon, Kindle, or yeah, it's very accessible.
Uh,
He's saying thank you. You're welcome.
what is that like when you get these when you're able to hear the spirit? Do you like hear literally a voice that we can't hear but you hear, or is it
Mhm,
like
mhm.
just a feeling and you translate it?
Yeah.
What is that like?
I'm really telepathic and clairaudient, so it's just voices that I just recognize beyond like my own. It just comes in. So as a matter of fact, sometimes I think folks on your platform have said they've heard a voice sometimes, like a lower, and so some people may,
I told you that one
yeah, I
time
remember
when you
you
was
told
saying
me.
real quick. I don't mean to interrupt you, but it was amazing. I think you was saying the prayer, the light language prayer, I think, and there was a low tone under you, like, like, and I'm like, yo, what's that? I'm like, yo, I never heard. Like, it was
Yeah.
amazing. But yeah, but go ahead.
Mhm,
I just had to say
mhm.
that. Yeah.
No, yeah, I remember you let me know, and I was like, yeah, there were a lot of beings around that conversation, but basically some people's ear can pick up on the frequency. That's it. And some people's ear might not pick up on the frequency. And so whenever I'm channeling or whatever, they're actually basically whispering things to me that
Wow.
I'm not necessarily repeating it because it's coming through my conscious awareness, but they're actually planting it there. They're placing it there. So sometimes when I'm going to answer a question, I get quiet, is
Yeah.
because the stream isn't just like coming through in a flow, is that I need to first listen and then
Yeah.
repeat what they're saying. So like that soul versus spirit question, I'm like, okay, source, boom, and plant it, drop it in.
Yeah. Wow. Is that something? Was it always that clear? Did you work on this, or did you just since you far you
I
as
had
you
to work
come up?
on it.
Yeah.
I had to work on it through learning how to listen,
Mm.
learning how to decipher what. So basically, I would hear things, but I would just be like write it off. But then, if I
Did,
keep hearing the same thing, I would recognize, okay, this is actually a voice, or this is actually information being given. So now it's to the point where they don't have to keep repeating themselves to get my attention. I can
mm,
just I just know the clarity of that voice, and I'm like, okay, let me. So sometimes when you hear me talk, I might even stop right in the middle of what I'm saying and go boom, okay, and pull in what they're saying because it's just I just hear it coming in.
Did you, for those who may be afraid of this, did you ever think you was crazy, like in the beginning stages when you, like, no, I was like, because
Um,
did you ever?
I definitely had. I call this my teenage Kanye era,
Uh,
where I was highly irritable with humans and people in general. Like I actually knew that I wasn't crazy. I was irritated because I thought everybody else was crazy. But they
mm,
thought I was crazy, but I knew that I wasn't crazy because I knew what I knew, what I knew, what I knew.
mm,
Because I had some absolutely undeniable experiences with source. I'm talking about being taken to the edge of time, like things that are just not, once you experience them, you don't go back. There is no
right.
unknowing something. So yeah, I had my they think I'm crazy era and I'm pissed. So I am being crazy.
Wow, very
Yeah.
interesting way to put
But I
it.
never actually thought that I was crazy. No. But I know
Okay.
some people struggle with that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So wow, that's ooh. Let's get to one more question. What a show, right, y'all? What a show. Let's do one more
Okay.
before we get out of here. Okay, I want to ask this one. Is Erin always aware of who exactly is speaking to her? Glad you asked that.
Yes and no. If it's relevant, the energy will present itself. If not, not really, and I don't really care because it's just, so I have mainly a source channel. Like I work with source directly primarily. And then there's the angelic realm. There are certain galactic beings like the Arcturians. Those are really my main three that I work with. Outside of that, because I know those frequencies so well, I can immediately tell if it's a different energy and it'll just tell me. So like Billy, the spirit of Billy, the angelic realm funneled his voice to me. Most spirits that I work with, they get funneled through the angelic realm anyways. And
Mm,
I set my channel that way up to avoid chaos in the field.
right, right,
There's
right.
a lot of weird energy, I'll put it that way.
Mhm, mhm.
And so it's just like the angels are always managing my channel, like who can communicate with me, who cannot,
Right.
basically. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Excellent conversation, Erin. I want you to leave all your contact info because I know the people gonna be hollering at you like crazy after that. Because man, oh man, woo, you know how to channel. And I met a lot of channelers. I've been involved in this spiritual thing for a while, but woo,
Mm,
you know how to channel. Wow. So
I
yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah,
Thank you.
leave your contact info for the family.
Okay. Um, ErinLyonsOfficial.com. My YouTube channel is Erin Lyons TV. My Instagram and TikTok, Erin Lyons Official. Very simple. Right now, I don't have a lot going on. I'm actually on a little bit of a resting period until March, April, but there are like courses and things like that. You can book a one-on-one session. Um, and then I have some other things in April that'll be launching.
Yeah, because they was asking about a school. Do you have some type of online school? They
I
was asking.
do. I have a psychic development program that's very extensive. It just ended, which is why I'm kind of like in this resting period. That will be great for those of you who feel that you are a channel and you want to learn channeling the right way, the
Right.
light way, working in a higher vibrational tier. Right now, I don't have anything for my masculine channels though. However, my boyfriend is a phenomenal channeler in Akashic Records channel, and him and I are going to create something for men to get involved with as well. So be on the lookout for that.
Excellent, excellent. Any advice you would have for the brothers? I know the brothers is that's kind of like a field that just
Mm,
women are
yeah.
tapped into. Any advice for men who would like
Mm.
to work on that you could think of real quick to tell them? They're
That's a
channeling.
great question because more and more men are tapping into their psychic abilities, but the challenge has been that there aren't a lot of masculine mentors who are fully embodying that.
Mhm.
And embrace yourself as a trailblazer is what I'm hearing. It won't it won't always be this way where you feel like a lone wolf. But for now, if you can just sit in this energy of understanding this like new wave of souls you're getting ready to lead, you will call in the right mentor or community or people that are in alignment with you specifically.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Y'all heard that. All right.
Growing wave of men doing this type of work. And it needs to be.
Definitely. No, definitely. Definitely. Hey, with that being said, I want to thank you one more time, Erin, for coming
Thank
on the
you.
platform. Good to see you this year. 2024 is going by so fast. We're almost in March already.
I know.
You know,
Thank you so much.
Indeed. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in tonight. I appreciate it. Go ahead and enjoy the rest of your Friday night, and I will see everybody. If not tomorrow, I will see y'all Monday. All right, family. Peace to everybody. Peace and blessings.
Peace.
All
Bye,
right.
guys.